an emergency uh, episode of Public Opinion Tea Time with your host, Pam and Vanetta. Hi, Vanetta. And
it's tea time 911.
911. We don't have our teacups because really what we're talking about calls for something stronger than tea, and it's the middle of the day, and we don't have that. But we're going to just jump right in because this show is about Will Smith and what happened at the Oscars. And I want to start out by just talking about the joke first. So what do you think about the joke itself?
I thought the joke was in poor taste. When he said it, I had a kind of feeling. Okay.
Well, I felt that way when I saw her face because
her face told it all.
Right. Because her face was like, and you could tell she was hurt. However, I don't believe that Chris Rock was coming from a malicious space in that. I think he was actually talking about G.I., the movie G.I. Jane. Demi Moore was in it. She looked beautiful in it. But I don't think in that moment he was thinking the medical issue. I don't think that. I think he was thinking the issue.
But that's why it was hurtful. Mm-hmm. It is a medical condition. It is not a fashion choice. If it had been a fashion choice, a style choice, I guess it would be different. But she's been very public that this is a situation that she's in. It's an illness and that she's upset by it.
Yeah, I know. And I've read about that. And I agree with you on that. But it is a fashion choice as far as she has chosen to embrace it. And I thought she looked fabulous with her hair, her makeup, the dress, everything. I thought she looked
she pulled it off. There's no doubt about it. You could think of it like, okay, she's rocking that bald head, but her options are to cover it up or not. And I think as women, we are embracing us, who we are, where we are. So I don't agree that it's a fashion choice. It is where she is in her hair journey.
And it's still a choice though. I mean, you do choose when she left out
she didn't choose to lose her hair.
No, I'm not talking about choosing to lose her hair.
But I'm saying even to have it exposed, you could hide it. And that's how she feels it would be hiding.
Well, there's a lot of people who choose to cover their hair up for all kind of their head for all kind of different reasons, not just because they have alopecia. Some people just choose, just like right now, Serena is totally fake. I could wear my hair. I don't, but I'm going through some stuff. Okay. But at any rate, I agree. This is the choice. However, but if she was going to be that upset about it, that's the only point.
Now, wait a minute. Let's be fair. You didn't see her get so upset.
Well, no, she did have this look on her face.
She looked hurt.
And what I'm saying is from what we've read, not so much what she said yesterday, but what we've read about how she's been feeling about herself and her hair loss. But at any rate, so now we're going to move on. We're going to move on to what he did. So what do you think about his response to that joke?
Saddening. It was absolutely saddening. It took away from the beauty of the night. And he pondered that behavior because he chuckled first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a second or two passed, and then he got up and walked up on the stage. Now, what I will say to you, I work in a professional environment, and there have been things that have been said, even from a podium, that I didn't agree with, or actions that happened in my presence that I did not agree with. I do not have the ability to continue to work if I were to go up and hit the person who made this statement or who behaved in this manner. That would eliminate me from this area of my employment. And it should.
It should.
It really should. And I feel like he is too big of a star to have behaved like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to stop and pause, and you have to think about what is the repercussions of my actions. And everybody has to be responsible for how they act and how they react to a certain given situation. There's been all kinds of things that I have found to be offensive, all kinds of things that you may want to say back. But that's when you have to stop and think, what is going to be the result of how I act. And that's why
even on this show, people say things mean, like me, call me a hag. I would like to respond to that, but I don't. I
But
won't
you,
feed into it.
and right, sometimes you don't qualify or you don't dignify certain things with any type of a response. Or what he could have done, which is maybe what I would have done, after party, I would have went up to him and I would have said, that was real effed up what you said about my wife. I don't appreciate that, and you need to go over there and apologize. Matter of fact, tomorrow I expect to see a public apology
A
somewhere.
public apology.
That's what you say. That's what you do in
That's what you
different
do.
situations.
And no, but maybe you even assault him, but don't do it on camera where you go to jail. I mean, because you bigger than him, catch him off base and do it. And why I think he shouldn't have behaved like this is that the joke fell flat. It wasn't a well appreciated joke. Exactly. I mean, it just didn't go well.
And it would have just went away. And he could, like I said, he could have addressed it later. And Chris would have been the one in the wrong. But what happened is, as a result, Will put himself more in the wrong than what Chris did. And what I always say, and you have heard me always say that you never want to lose the point of your protest in the presentation of your position. Because once he went up there on that stage, the point of his protest was lost the minute he smacked Chris across.
The minute he smacked him. And then, wait a minute. And it seemed like Chris was more the gentleman. He accepted it because it could have been a brawl on that stage.
It could have been on all. And how embarrassing would that have been?
And the fact that he cursed from the audience, Will Smith has always held himself above the fray as rappers. He said he would never rap about anything that his grandmother couldn't listen to.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think she would have been proud of his behavior in that moment. But I'm going to say this, and we haven't got there yet, but I was disappointed when he won. I felt like he should win. I'm not disappointed that he won. I was disappointed at what he said. I felt like his whole acceptance speech, I was waiting for an apology. And you don't just apologize to the Oscars. You owed me a personal apology. You owed every man, woman, boy, and child apology. And for everybody who was out there, it took away from their night.
Yes, that's the same way. I feel like it took away from a lot. He had a lot to apologize for. And I think that even if he felt like he shouldn't have apologized to Chris Rock, I think in that moment, just to show that he is just a better man, he's bigger and better than all
bigger
this.
And better.
And I love what he said that Denzel said to him when he said, at your highest moment, be careful, because the devil will come for you. And the devil came for Will Smith. He held his hand and escorted him up those steps. Okay. So he came for him. And so
he pulled his hand to slap him. I mean, he was possessed by evil. You are correct. But Will Smith is a large enough star. He could have put damage on Chris Rock. He could have hurt his career if he wanted to. And that could have been the angle he chose to say, I will not perform in a film with him. I will not be on the show that he's on. He could have harmed him where most importantly, we know is in your pocket.
Yeah. I mean, and now I'm hearing reports that they've mended their fences already. And now we're all still talking about it and they're moving on.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. Well, that's what the word is. But this is the thing.
Because they had an ongoing dispute, when he did the Oscars in 2016, he had some
kind of issue, but and again, this is just what I've been reading. It may not even be real, but I'm just telling you, this is what I have read. But this is the thing. I just think that at all times we have to be mindful of who is watching us. There are young people. There are people who we deal with all the time. Young people here in court who assault people, who kill people just because they felt like they were disrespected. And that is something that we have got to get past. This whole, you disrespected me, you disrespected my wife. She is a strong enough woman that I'm sure she could have stood up for herself. And that moment, she could have even just been like, whatever, I will be fabulous, even with G.I. Jane.
I mean, she took it like that. You saw her, but she struggled. But I thought he should have got up there, and when he got to his point, if he did get up on the stage, I would have said, Chris Rock, I'm gonna meet you later because I don't appreciate what you said about my wife.
Something.
But I'm gonna have to tell you, Sean Puffy Combs, he my man. He came back and tried to make it right. He did his best.
He tried to, but it was in that moment
too little, too late.
It was a little too late. But we just have to always, and again, especially as Black people, and this is unfortunate, we always have to be extra mindful of how we present ourselves. Ketanji Brown Jackson is such a good example of that. last week. I'm sure she wanted to say a whole lot of things
And a
to
lot of
those
times she should have slapped some
to
people.
those ignorant senators, but she held her composure. She knew she was looking ahead at the bigger picture and what was going to be happening and what's going to
Yeah.
be reflective of her actions. And unfortunately, Will Smith did not do that, because now his legacy is going to be marred that night of his biggest moment with that. Now, will he be able to
Which
go
we
on and
had
still be
very
a big
few.
star? With
We've
very,
had very few
very,
Black icons in that role.
yeah.
And what I can tell you did happen, and I don't know him personally, but I feel like I do. Kanye was like, "Go Will, go
Okay.
Will."
Okay.
Okay.
He was probably like, and y'all was worried about what I was gonna do.
I mean, y'all didn't let me come up in here. Okay.
Okay.
All I did was push somebody off the mic and I let them get it
Yeah.
back. I didn't hit nobody.
Okay. But I'm telling you, I've been enjoying listening, watching, and different people's perspectives and what they've been putting on social media. And some people are like Team Will, like, yeah, you defend your woman, and she had alopecia, and don't talk about people with medical conditions. And okay, I don't think really there's anybody who just wants to purposely talk about somebody that got a medical condition, unless you Donald. We won't mention his last name. But at any rate, I just think all of that could have been handled better. But we are going to do another show where we are going to actually just talk about the Oscars and the people's
The
fashions,
pageantry
the
of it.
things
No.
that you love to talk
Okay.
about when you talk about the
Oh, yeah.
Oscars.
We're going to talk about it. And girl, we're going to talk about how all the girls were out.
Yes, but I hope you all have enjoyed this. If you have an opinion about this subject, please put it in our comments, because we
And you
want to
have
hear.
to have an opinion.
You
There's
have
nobody
to.
who saw
Okay.
it that didn't have
And
an
didn't
opinion.
have an opinion. So until next time, we'll see you for another episode of Public Opinion Tea Time. Bye-bye.